Welcome to the Travel Agent Podcast. I'm your host, Aylin Blanco. I interview successful industry professionals and share my personal journey to becoming a travel agent. The show is for aspiring travel agents and travel professionals at every level. My mission is to uncover the universal keys to thrive in this business. Join me as I take a closer look into the life of a travel agent. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Travel Agent Podcast. Today, as usual, we have another amazing guest, and she is going to introduce herself.
Hello, everybody. Thanks, Lynn, for having me on your show. I appreciate it. I'm excited to be here. So my name is Nikki Hendrix, and I'm actually the owner of Favorite Grampy Travels. We specialize in family vacations, so we can do pretty much anything. That's our niche, and that's what we really like to do is the multi-generational family vacations, hence our name, Favorite Grampy. And that's what we were named after was my dad, who is Favorite Grampy, just the name that all his adopted grandkids gave him, all of my friends that wanted him as a dad and my kids' friends for Grampy. And he just instilled in us, the value of making memories together. And that's what we try to do for our clients. And that's our passion, is to help them make those memories too for their families.
Oh, that's amazing. So with that story, how did you get started?
Well, I've always loved to travel. And growing up, we didn't have a huge travel budget or anything. So a lot of the times it was just the beach or things like that. My dad started working for the Walt Disney Company in the Northern Virginia area, DC area, managing all the stores in that district. And with that, you got free tickets to Disney every 6 months. So it looked like we were rolling in the dough, going to Disney World every 6 months and staying at the Polynesian, the Grand Floridian. But, the hotels were $50 a night. And, he got free tickets and we had peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And that's how we did it. And it didn't matter because what mattered was that we were together and we were making those memories. And looking back on that, how precious that was, that they made that a priority in our family. And then later on, we did start to be able to do other things. Like in high school, I was able to go to France with them. And we spent 3 weeks there, staying with relatives and things and exploring the area. And that trip, I think, is really what opened my eyes to the rest of the world. And it's a whole big, amazing place out there that's totally different than my little corner of Northern Virginia. So yeah, that was my love of travel, my love of Disney, growing up as a Disney baby. And then, of course, Favorite Grampy with all his memories and everything. He started a blog. And that blog was all about how to spoil your grandkids, what sodas have the most caffeine so you can stay up the latest, why you should have chocolate cake for breakfast and how it's healthy for you. All that kind of stuff. The best black and white horror flicks from the 1940s. So we actually spun off the agency from his blog and the idea behind that. And I'd been with a Disney-centric agency prior to this, back in 2015. But then after a few years, I kind of had outgrown it. I had more clients than I had time to help them. So I was giving away clients every day. So it was time. It was time to spin off and grow our own baby. And so that's what we did and how we got our name and what we've been doing since then. And that was back in 2019. So we're about 3 years old.
Wow. So that is probably the most interesting story I've heard to date. Like, that's awesome. That like the whole family's involved, right?
Yes, we are. Even Grammy's involved, and the kids. When we go to the parks, we live right by the parks now. We've actually moved down to Florida this past year, so we go to the parks several times a week to get social media content and check out the new stuff going on. Like Guardians of the Galaxy just opened up the new coaster, so we had to be first in line. And even the kids know. They're like, "Mom, don't forget, take a picture of this," or "Hey, Mom, you forgot, don't take a bite yet. You got to take a picture of the food first." So yeah, they're totally in on it too.
That's amazing. Like, I love when the entire family can build those memories. And I mean, like a lot of us, that first really big trip is what kind of pushed us into the industry.
Yeah.
So I always like to know this because since you kind of got in the industry a little bit different through like the blog and being Disney centered, what is something you wish you would have known that would have really kind of helped you propel your business in the beginning?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure anyone who's been in the industry for a while knows that Disney bookings are probably the most complicated as far as what you have to do once you book them, or what you can offer to do, I should say. And they also have some of the lowest commissions. So you're doing the most work for the smallest dollar. But it was our passion, so it didn't feel like work, right? Because we were doing it anyway. Honestly, I was already booking trips for friends and I wasn't getting paid for it. But when it starts taking 50, 60, 70 hours of your week, you got to get paid. So what I wish I would have done in the beginning, I wish I would have known about fees. I didn't even know that was a thing until a little bit into it. I was saying, oh, I'm free, use me, I'm free, use me. And I didn't realize until my own agency the value and importance of charging a professional fee, whichever way that looks for your agency. They're all different kinds. The other thing would probably be getting a mentor as soon as you possibly can. It's hard doing it alone and just not even having no idea what you're doing. It's very different from being a travel agent versus an agency owner. It's not just like, oh yeah, I get 100% commission now. No. There's so much more involved in it, especially if you're taking on independent consultants or employees. So I would definitely find a mentor as soon as you can, somebody who's been in the agency, even if they've only been in the agency a year more than you. They're going to have priceless advice for you. Listen to podcasts, anything that you can get more information on in the industry. Watch what the big guys are doing. Anything like that would be great and help you get off to the right start.
We are preaching the same thing because the mentor or coach, like I come from a coaching world several years before I even got in the industry, and it's really invaluable. Like you don't realize how much you gain from having someone who is just one step ahead of you,
right,
walking that journey with you. It's crazy important.
Yeah, they don't have to, be in the industry for 20 years, and most of them are so happy to give back and to do that because they're going to be things that you give them as well as the mentee, right? Mentor, mentee. So you're going to come and give them a fresh perspective and ask questions, why they're doing this, why they're doing that. So I know in my case, I've mentored a couple newer agencies as well. And just seeing, oh, that's interesting. You did that. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. So I've gotten just as much out of it as being their mentor as I have being the mentee in another relationship. So definitely, I agree.
So let's talk a little bit more about your agency, because I absolutely love smaller kind of host agency type businesses, because I feel like you kind of get that mentor mentee relationship along with several other people, so you're all really just learning together. Can you give me just a little information about like what you're doing and how your agency is a little different?
Yeah. So we are on the smaller side. We have about 30 agents. We started in 2019, and then we all know what happened in 2020. So we spent our first year building up from scratch, and then 2020, our second year, tearing it all down. And then last year, building it all up again. So sometimes when people ask, oh, how long have you been how old is your agency? Or how long have you been doing this? It's like, well, I could either say 3 years or I could really say 1 year. So, it just depends. But yeah, so we have 30 agents. We bring on, most of our people are new to the industry, but they're not new to travel. And that is super important to me, that they have that passion. You can teach the knowledge. You can teach where to find the information, your processes and procedures, but you can't teach that passion for travel and wanting to help people make those memories together. So that's our number one, is that they are well traveled. If it's somebody I'm hiring for the Disney side of the agency or Universal side, they have to have visited at least 5 times in the last 5 years, and that's the bare minimum. Most of our agents travel multiple times per year. I think on average, our agents visit the parks about 5 times per year if they don't actually live down here themselves. So we are honestly very, very experienced, eat, sleep, and breathe these theme parks. And then we also have another division that after the shutdowns, or actually right before the shutdown, we started focusing on non-theme parks. So like Mexico, Caribbean, Europe, Hawaii, Africa. And we had just dipped our toes in the water when everything got shut down. So after when things started opening up again, we've been growing that side of our agency as well. So we do have some agents that do other things besides the theme parks. And that's been a learning process as well. But as long as they have that passion and drive, we can teach the rest. And I kind of like that I kind of have a blank slate, to teach them that. So yeah, honestly, I prefer, it hasn't been a requirement. It's just how it's happened so far. So
I really kind of want to go back to something you said that I hope everybody hears, is that you started in 2019. So,
yep.
and I'm right along with you because I started in 2018. And so there's this moment where you have this aha moment and things are working. So how did you stay encouraged and encourage your team throughout the shutdowns?
Yeah, it was a challenge, honestly, because I felt like my number one job was to be a cheerleader, not only for my agents, but also the clients or prospective clients, our audience on social media. I had to be a cheerleader for them, keep them involved. But back to our agents, we did a lot of things. We did like happy hours. We did like guessing special things about the agent. So we'd be like, who am I? And just do kind of like the 2 truths in 1 lie kind of thing. Just a lot of different fun stuff like that. And then what we also did was to stay in front of our clientele or in front of our audience. We came together with lots of different ideas, which our agents were absolutely amazing and came up with a whole bunch of stuff. But our largest group at that time was our Disney Facebook group. And so we actually took turns, and every single night we would read bedtime stories, like the little golden books or things like that, to the group live, or recorded if someone was too nervous to do it live. And we would do that, and we'd have 30, 40, 50 people tune in to watch that live. And some of them have thousands of views. And it was a great way to stay in front, and people kept tuning in and logging in and staying in front. And when it was time, when things did open or when we had news to provide, they were ready to receive it. So that also helped us, I feel like, bounce back faster because we weren't starting at scratch. We had nurtured those relationships throughout the whole time. And then inside the agency, we became more tight-knit because we were still working together. It wasn't like, oh, see you when it reopens. We were hanging out virtually almost every day.
So kind of to add on to that, because I don't want to talk about just the bad times. What do you feel like was the biggest takeaway from being able to spend that time with your agents and with your audience? What do you think that you'll take from that moving forward that's been really helpful to continue to grow your business?
I want to stay creative. Like, it forced us to be very creative. And I want to keep that. We've been able to keep some of it, but just time constraints, we haven't been able to do as much. And as I was preparing for this and some other projects I have going on, I was thinking about some of the things that we used to do. And I'm like, oh man, that would be really fun to do that again, like the trivia and the giveaways and things like that. And I don't want to lose that. I definitely want to bring that back because it made it feel like family. And that's actually, our group is called Disney Friends and Family. So I want to make sure that feeling stays there. And especially now as we're bigger, and we're growing, in the beginning we had 5 agents and now we have 30. And I want to keep that family type feel as much as I can.
That's amazing. So do you have anything that you have coming up that's super exciting that you want to share with the podcast?
Okay, so we do have a huge thing coming up. So I'm sure anybody who's heard of or being a specialized agent with Disney, or an agent that specializes in Disney, I should say. Genie Plus is absolutely crazy. It confuses people. It's their front of the line pass kind of thing. We are going to be holding masterminds, kind of like a 101 class for those in our group, because we also have a Genie group, and that has over 50,000 people in it. And we get the same questions all the time. And so we've been putting together and working really hard the last couple months on this presentation and getting some feedback with it. So it'd be about an hour long, very basic 101, but that's what people are asking for. So we're trying to provide that to those members. There will be a minimal fee for it, for the agent's time that will be hosting it. And we'll rotate between our agents at some point. So whoever feels comfortable doing it can lead the course. And then we'll probably end up recording it, and we can also provide it that way. But yeah, I'm super excited. We spent a lot of time on it, and I'm excited to be able to help people, for one, really understand it and give them more value out of that group as well.
Well, you are doing amazing things. I'm so excited to continue to follow all the things that you're doing, and just keep being awesome, because I think that you're really making a difference for a lot of people. And I hands down, once you've gotten bitten by the travel bug and you realize that you want to help other people, there's not a better feeling.
Yes, I agree. It's so much fun, and just to see their pictures when they're on vacation, and then they message you and they're like, I'm sitting with my cocktail on the beach, and thank you so much for this. Or when they come home and, wow, that was the best vacation we've ever had, and can't wait to go again. Or the ones, so much fun when they tell me, this is my one and only trip to Disney, and we're not doing it again, and there's no way my husband's not going to like it, and he's already grumpy, and da 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 da. And then they go. We've taken all the stress out of it, and now before they even leave, they're asking when they can rebook it. And Dad's just like, oh my gosh, it was so great. I had the best time. Let's go again. Let's get annual passes. So that's when you did a great job and you made a big difference.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, and we will definitely stay in touch.
Yay. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining the Travel Agent Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Visit thetraveleagentpodcast.com for more information about today's episode and other travel agent resources. Be sure to tune in every Thursday for new episodes. Until next time, continue to build a travel business you love.